Welcome everybody to Crypto Rosetta. My name is Savage. Today we're going to be having a look at VECHAIN. If you haven't already, we do have a macro video up above. This is going to be a lower time frame video, so check that out if you want more context over the waves and all the different options that we're currently tracking. Okay, so let's get into the charts and see what's going on. So before we jump into the micro analysis of the options available in our macro, I'm looking at these two as the most likely. So what I'm looking for here is the potential that this could actually be a B wave here, and what we're setting up for is a 5-wave move to the upside. Now this 5-wave move could potentially move up to the zone of this 1.618 to this 1236, which would be a common area here. But if this is going to be an expanding flat, what we could actually see is a potential move up towards this 04699. Now this would be not a common target, but it is still a target for a C wave and a flat. And given the current structure that we've got here, unless we start to get a deeper retracement and we see something like this, potentially then we could see these lower targets come in. Alternatively, if we see a shallower retracement, we could potentially look for this push up into these higher levels. Now the idea that I'd be looking for here is the possibility of looking to move back up into this channel line, and if we come out onto the daily here, effectively what we'd be looking for is the potential to move up towards this 382 level at this 05400 region. So if we do see something like this as a 5-wave move to the upside, we'd have to be careful of that idea of still having a C wave to the downside, in which case 1-to-1 or 0.618 would be here at the 00967, and then 1-to-1 would be all the way down here. Now this would be our minimum requirement, and if we do see a move into these levels, we'd have to be looking out for that possibility of a reversal, because we do have a target box in this zone, so we would have to be just watching that move to the downside. Now the other possibility is that we're already looking to push down, and we have a triangle over here, and effectively what we're looking for is a 3-wave move to the downside. Now what we'd then be looking for is this possibility of this 0962 as being a possible area we could look to move down to as a 1-to-1. Alternatively, our minimum requirement would be here at this 0.618, which would just be below this A wave low. So going to be keeping an eye on this. If we do look to start breaking down in 5-wave structure here, potentially we could be looking for this lower target to the downside here. Now we have come up into this typical area that we look for rejection, and we have actually moved up into the zone here of this golden pocket. We were saying that, you know, this could be 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and we're looking for a 5-wave move in that way. It is also possible to count this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but we could also just argue this is A, B, and C, because ideally I would have liked another 4th and a 5th here, but the structure is not looking like it's likely anymore, because the time duration of this as a wave 2 and this as a wave 4 is starting to get very disproportionate here, and is becoming less likely that that is the case. So if we are looking at this move to the upside here, there's a couple of ways, like I just said, that we can look at this. So we could argue this is just a corrective move to the upside, in which case we're looking for a C wave, or alternatively we're looking for that possibility of that break to the upside. So we're going to go over that bullish case and that possibility of a break first. Like I said, we were initially looking for this potential that what we had here was 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and then saying that this was a 4th and a 5th wave to the upside. Now we have actually held this 4th wave target. We are still within this. The problem is the time duration, like I said, of this as a wave 2 and this as a wave 4 is becoming very disproportionate now. So the likelihood is that rather this move is completed into this high here, and we're looking for this possible retracement into the lower zone here. Now if we do, however, just see one more 5-wave move to the upside like this, we could potentially then argue that there's something like a triangle going on in here that would explain why there's such a big difference between the wave 2 and the wave 4. But it's looking more likely that, you know, currently that this move is looking to make a wave 2 in this location. So the way we'd be looking at that is effectively saying that this could actually now become an A wave or a wave 1, and we're looking for this as a B wave or a wave 2. Now what we'd be looking for typically here would be a move down to between this 50% and the 786. I have also got these higher targets marked up here in case we have a shorter retracement. Now if this is going to be something like an A, B, and a C, what we'd be anticipating is a move to the downside here, possibly towards this 50% level at this 1617. Now this would align nicely with actually coming back into these highs over here. Alternatively, if we do look to push down a little bit lower here, I would be also watching out towards this 1759 area as a previous 4th wave in this case, where we could then look to see a shallower retracement here before looking for this continuation to the upside. If we did have to come down towards these lower zones, particularly into this golden pocket area here, our 1-to-1 would then be up here towards this 0.2322. Now, if we do see that price actually fails to break down at this low and possibly looks to move away from where we currently are here, we could argue that our 1-to-1 would be up here at this 0.2681, and then the potential of a third wave actually comes at this 0.3453. So if we start to see price breaking to the upside here in 5 waves, this could potentially align with the idea of having that bigger move up here in a 5-wave structure, looking at that idea of this flat where we could be looking for some of these zones here. Like I said, this 1618 to this 1236, or alternatively this becomes 12, and then we get a much bigger move to the upside here for this C wave, looking for this 2.618 level. So we're going to have to keep an eye on this structure here to see if it can actually continue to hold structure here. Invalidation of this comes by crossing this low at this 0.1319. So as long as we remain above that low, we have that potential to see price looking to break to the upside. Now, the way we could argue that this is still looking to come down for this bigger B wave here is that this move in this higher area here could just be a bigger corrective move, where what we were saying is that this move to the downside is just a W, this is looking at this as an X, and then we're saying we could have this as A, B, C. Now, if this is the case and we're looking at this as A, B, and C to the downside, what we could see is a rejection one more time here, looking for this 0.1714. Now, it is possible that this B wave could also be incomplete here, in which case what we could see is a little bit more upside come into play here, where we could see a move up towards this 1893 to this 1941. Failure to break above this 1941 would give us more confirmation of the idea that we're going to see a C wave to the downside, though currently what I'm seeing here is just corrective. It is possible this could always just become A, B, and we still see another push up, or alternatively we could look to break down directly. If we look to break down directly, our 1-to-1 would be here at the 1714, and our 1-to-1 of our W wave would actually be here at this 1684. Now, if I overlay this idea of the corrective structure, this would align with coming into the 0.382, which is sitting at the 1698. So if we do see price come down here in 3 waves, I'd be very interested to see how we react around these levels. Potentially we could see some support coming here if we are looking at this possibility of this being a corrective move completed. Now, if we do look at this as a corrective move completed at that point, we'd then be looking for that C wave to the upside. Now, what we need to be very careful of here is because, like I said, we could be looking for this possibility of this being a B wave high and then saying, well, instead of counting this as a corrective move down where we're looking at this as W, X, and Y, what we could also argue is this is 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, and 5. Now, if that is the case, effectively this would be our A wave, and then we'd be looking for a B and a C to the downside. Now, even within this micro corrective count that we just went over here, it is also possible this could be a 5-wave pattern as an A, and then what we'd be saying is that we'd be looking for a B wave up, which could be here where this X wave is. Alternatively, what we could still see here, if we do continue to hold these lows here and we start to see a move to the upside, I'll be watching out for this potential that this could be A, B, and then we see 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 5 up here into this 0.2070, which would align with coming back up here into the 786 retracement, which would also look to sweep these highs here. And, you know, if we do see something like this, effectively what we could then see is this is just a 3-wave move, and then we still see 5-wave move to the downside. So until we break back above this high here for more confidence, which is sitting at this 21.28, we need to be on the lookout for that possibility of, you know, continuation to the downside. So the key thing is, you know, if this is 1, 2, and then we're looking for that possibility of a breakdown, what we could actually see is something more along these lines. So I'm actually going to remove this other target box. Now, what we could also argue here is that this is 1, 2. This would be another 1, 2 here. Now, this would be a lower degree of confidence calling this a 1 here, just because it would first off be a diagonal. And the main reason I don't really like it is there wasn't much of a break of this wave 1 over here. If we're going to say that this is wave 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, there wasn't a significant break of this wave 1. So it did cross it. So it is technically possible. If this is the case, this could then effectively become A, B, C. So if this is a corrective move where this is W, X, and Y, this could technically be completed into this low, but we don't have enough evidence. Alternatively, this could be 1, 2. This could then become 1 and 2. So this is going to be very crucial here that until we actually break back above this 1987, we need to be very careful of the idea that even if we see price do something like this and push back to the upside here and look to move up anywhere between the 786 and this 0.382, so that would be this 1948 to this 1878 region. If we fail to break back above the 786 and look to invalidate this high, what we could then see is that we could still get that possibility of a break to the downside. Now, what we'd have to be careful of within this more bearish count here is that we'd be saying this is a 1 and a 2. Now, if we do see a move down towards this 1618 level, this could actually indicate that this becomes 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, in which case we get a bigger breakdown here. In which case, what we would then be looking for would be the possibility of an additional 4th and a 5th here in the yellow count. So that would be 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and then we would still have this potential that this is another 1, 2 here. So that would mean that we'd get an additional push up for a 4th and a 5th. Now, if this plays out exactly as I have it charted out here, effectively this would be looking for 1487 to this 1424 as a possible target. Now, the problem is that if we do have something along these lines where we have this as a 5-wave move to the downside like this, we always need to be careful that this move actually doesn't just become either A, we get 3 waves up and that's a B and a C, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Alternatively, there can even be further extension within these waves. So these are just using the 1618 levels. If these start to extend out, this could push this 3rd wave target down much lower here. Currently, what we are looking for as a 3rd wave target is this 1618, which is sitting here towards this 1557. However, if we do start to extend out much more aggressively here within the blue count or the yellow count, what we could potentially see is price could actually look to rather target out this 2.618, which is sitting lower down here towards this 1320, but it's too early to say with this. Effectively, we do have potential. We could start to see some upside come in here, but I'm just being cautious because until we take this 1987, this is looking like the cleaner count currently. So until we actually take these levels back to the upside here, need to be very careful of the idea of seeing this continuation and this break to the downside. Having a look at the daily CPR lines here, what we can see is that we have actually printed a slightly higher CPR line. Now, if we manage to hold these, potentially we could see price look to move to the upside. Targets to the upside for today would be this 1882. We have this 1899. 1926 and this 1944. If we do manage to hold these levels here, these central lines, we can see price potentially be gravitated towards these levels. If however we start to lose these central lines, we could potentially find support lower down here at this 1838. If we lose that zone, effectively lower down here we have this 1812, we have this 1793 and this 1768 as potential downside for today. So we're going to be keeping an eye on these levels. If we do see price continue to break down here, we can always move through these zones, so we need to be aware of that. These higher targets would align with that idea of a corrective move here, and then, you know, these lower ones would align with that idea of seeing price looking to break to the downside. Now, having a look at the weekly CPR lines here, what we can see is that we are currently below our central lines. We are also currently below our S1 line. So if we see price move back to the upside here a little bit higher, this 1890 could potentially be a resistance level, as well as that higher up here, this 1930 to this 1953 could also now be resistance if we move back up into these levels. If we do see price come down here, we could potentially find support on this 1818 and this 1768 if we do see price looking to just move down into these zones. Though, like I said, price can always look to move through these levels. If during this week we actually manage to reclaim these central lines, this then opens up targets to the upside here of this 2012, this 2061, and this 2134 as possible targets to the upside for this week. As well as that, if we throw on the monthly here now, what we can see is that we are currently underneath our top central line. If we continue to find resistance in this, this could actually align with the idea that price could be gravitated to the downside one more time towards this 1777, which would align with coming back down here into this central line. If we fail to hold this zone, then potentially we would be looking for support to come in at this 1681, and if we start to lose that, other targets for this month to the downside still open is this 1511. So if we do see price break down in this way, potentially this could align with a deeper B wave here or wave 2. But if we start to lose this lower line here, then we need to just be careful, because our next target is actually looking at this zone here of this 1052, which would align with coming back down in that C wave. If we do manage to get back above this top CPR line here, what we could see is price could still move to the upside. 22.33, 24.98 and this 29.56 are still potential targets to the upside for this month, so gonna have to keep an eye on this as price develops here. Okay, so I'm going to leave the video there. I hope you found it useful. If you did, please smash the like button, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, turn on those bell notifications so you never miss a video. Leave us some feedback down below, and also in the description you will find a link to the Discord. Come check it out, it is free to join. Everyone have a great day. We'll see you in the next one. Take care.